Hey guys, Stab in the Eye here. What I have today is my Leaning Tower of American 1305 padlocks. I got these on a lock lot recently, and I'm going to be shipping 5 of these out tomorrow, but I just picked through them, wanted to see how they went. These are pretty well used American locks, and with age these definitely get more difficult to open. The one on the top here is the one that gave me the most trouble. I felt like I kept oversetting the pins. It felt like it had 4 long pins and a short pin in pin 2. Every time I tried to set that one, it felt like a spool. I would either drop or overset something to get to it. So I'm going to open this up, see what's inside, and I also offered to pin this one up to 6 pins for the person I'm sending it out to, and I'm going to pin it up to this lock right here, to this key. So first thing I'm going to do is take my Phillips head. I'll just get this core out. Okay. And these locks also came with the anti-bypass wafers. And this was the only lock out of the group that I needed to use some lubricant on to get it to open. So I'm going to take this C-clip off the back, my little pickle fork, and be careful not to lock it back up. Alright, so one thing you'll notice is that this lock's picked clockwise, which is the normal opening position on an American lock. But you want that little piece on the back to be turned counterclockwise when you're opening, or else you'll have a sizable gap between the follower. So there's a few options. You can simply insert the key and turn counterclockwise. But what I'm going to do is just use this little shim. I haven't had the chance to look at the keys yet, so I just wanted to surprise myself and see what's inside here. So I'm going to just use this shim to bridge the gap. Alright. So let's take a look at the key pins. Alright, that was pin 2 that just fell out. That looks like a short pin. Probably a 3 or so, because it does have serrations on it. The first pin's pretty long. Maybe a 5 or a 6, but I'm not really good at eyeballing them. Pin 3. Roughly the same length. Pretty long. Same on pin 4. Same on pin 5. So this lock looked like it had pretty flat bitting minus the pin in 2. But I do expect that there's going to be a spool on the either pin 1 and 2. Definitely on 2. But I felt a lot of spools in the beginning of the lock. But I'm going to pull this shim out and see what we can find. Yep, so we got a spool in 1, spool in 2. I had pretty much 100% confidence on that one because that was the last to set. Spool on 3. What do we got on 4? Just a serrated. 5. It's a serrated. And not expecting anything special on these springs. When you are pinning from 5 to 6 pins, you don't typically have to gut the lock, but you do need to go through the back and add an additional spring and driver pin. And when you do put this lock back together, make sure the part that's sticking out is the front. Okay. So on this key, right here, I used my handy dandy decoder. And I did it ahead of time, so it's a 162263. So we're going to take out the appropriate pins. One, 6, 2, 2, 6, 3. Now let's hope that I measured these right. I'm also going to take out an additional serrated pin and an additional spring, because I do not have extras of the American spools. My spools I have are not serrated, so try to keep it as close to the original pinning as possible. So now I'm going to insert the key, make sure that they're at shear. Okay. I think pin 3 is sticking up a little bit too much, so I might try another one. Could be a 1 cut, but let's just make sure. Okay, that looks like that's measuring up perfect now. I'll keep this off to the side, I'll measure that later and make sure it was correct. Okay, so now we're at shear. Okay. Now I'm just going to add the springs in. And I'll tell you, when you're picking these American locks, adding a 6-pin really can make a big difference. And also age. These locks can be just a lot more difficult once they're older. I really tried not to lubricate them up. I just wanted to try to pick them like, you know, how you would probably normally find them in a real world situation. But this one was just being temperamental. So just to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to pin up pin 5 and then 6 and then work my way back. Okay. Now I'm going to start at pin 4. Now pin 3. One nice thing about pinning these Americans is the springs aren't super long, so you can really get the pins to sit easily when you're repinning them, so it's not a constant battle trying to get them to push down and not flying across the room. Oh, I spoke too soon. Okay, now that we are all set, remember that the little protrusions, the front, Now that I do have a key, I'm going to have it turned to the counterclockwise position so I don't need to use a follower. And it slid in nicely, so I expect everything to be to shear. And the key is turning nicely. Put the C-clip back on the back. Put my little bypass wafer back in. Just got to turn it so it will line up with the back of the plug. Put this little faceplate on. Insert the key before locking it to make sure that it will in fact work, and we are back in business. Alrighty, so that is pinning up an American 1305 to 6 pins. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and hope you have a great day.